Hi, I'm Chris Knutson, a chartered and professional engineer working for Stanley Consultants and guest host on a highly popular civil engineering podcast. In these interview sessions, I talk with 3 veterans working for Stanley Consultants, a recently retired Army engineer, and 2 reserve officers. Each shares why they chose Stanley Consultants to continue to serve both the nation and the engineering profession. In this short video, I'm interviewing John Hudson, the Army Account Manager for Stanley Consultants, who just joined the firm after retiring from a highly successful career in the U.S. Army, serving most recently as a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers District Commander. Now, let's get to the interview. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in here. And John, glad to have you on this little recording here. We're going to spend some time talking about the transition from active duty and into the private industry. And John, there's a lot of different AE firms that are out there that are servicing the Department of Defense and federal agencies, which makes it a bit of a challenge for someone that's retiring from active duty and looking to go into the AE industry. I'd be curious to hear, kind of what did that process, what was it like for you? And then really what ultimately led you to choose Stanley Consultants as the AE firm that you were going to join on board with?
Sure. Well, it's a long process. I spent better than a year, wrestling with what was I going to do next upon retiring from the military. And, SME played a big part of that with the workshop. But as I wrestled through it, do I want to go work in the AE community? Really, as it became clear that was the right path for me. And I ultimately settled on Stanley Consultants because of its reputation. I knew them fairly well from my time in the Corps, the culture within the company, which I thought I was a good fit for. It's also a mid-sized firm, which I was very comfortable with the idea of going to a mid-sized firm. I think it provides me the opportunity to really learn the private sector well, whereas I thought a small firm, I wasn't quite prepared to really come in and start up a federal program at a small firm. So mid-sized firm, I was much more comfortable with. Employee owned, I saw as a big benefit. And then ultimately, as I went through a series of conversations with Stanley, the job responsibilities really seemed to fit me well. And then they offered me a generous compensation package. So through that whole process, weighing it against other companies I was speaking with, became clear Stanley was the right fit for me.
That's great. That's great. And you pointed out that you were at this for a while. This wasn't a decision that you made overnight. It took 12 months, probably even longer than that. But I know when we were talking, you had mentioned that you had an opportunity to attend the SME transition workshop, and that was a kind of a really good foundation for you to be able to interface with other industries. So I'd be curious to have you, if you could, just maybe share a little bit of your insight off of that event and how you use that to kind of help you with that decision-making process.
Yeah, the transition workshop really was a great event, not just for the opportunity to interview with well over a dozen firms, but it also provided a series of presentations and discussions on the whole transition process, everything from dealing with the VA to what to expect in the private sector, how to negotiate a compensation package. So there was a whole series of presentations that was informative, but also the face-to-face interviews I had with firms, both prime contractors and AE firms, really helped me nail down whether I wanted to go to a prime, an AE, a large, a small, all of those issues. And that's where I began the conversation with Stanley. And coming out of the workshop, I was talking with about half a dozen firms. So it's a great starting point for that.
All right, that's great. Well, Stanley Consultants is going to be at the SME Transition Workshop here this year in 2021. And definitely will be looking forward to those of you that are contemplating making the shift from active duty, either from retirement or just transitioning into industry. We'll be there. Would love to connect with you. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to talking with you soon. I hope you found this brief discussion about transitioning from active duty to private industry and navigating the opportunities presented by AE firms useful. If you did, please reach out to us at the email address shown below. And if you're planning on attending the SAME 2021 Virtual Transition Workshop, make sure to set up a time to talk with us. We'd love to hear about your aspirations, your plans, and talk about how we might be able to collaborate together. Stay safe.